All right. And the session is scheduled to run until 2 p.m. That is a tight 45 minutes. And today we're going to have two 20-minute presentations. And in order to make sure both presentations fit within the time frame folks have planned on today, we'll be keeping to that schedule with Q&A at the end of the presenters' presentations or at the end of the time period at our presenters' discretion. So now let me tell you a little bit about our first speaker. Josh Mahaney received his master's in creative studies from Buffalo State and is now a PhD candidate at Grenoble School of Management in France. He has worked in innovation at Disney Parks and Resorts and the NBA team, the Orlando Magic. Josh will be presenting today about co-creating with artificial intelligence. Welcome, Josh. Over to you.
Wow, that was super fast. Thank you so much, Amanda. Let me present. I hope everyone can see everything. Probably. All
Thumbs
good?
up here. We can see your screen.
Thumbs up. Thank you so much for the thumbs up. Okay. Yes. So thank you very much for my introduction. I mean, my slides are auto changing. So yeah, my name's Josh. I'm currently in France right now, south of France, and this is my presentation. Thanks for coming, and thanks to my advisors who are currently supervising me. I'm in the last year of my PhD, last 6 months, which is terrifying. Also exciting. Okay. So I start, since I only have 10 minutes, picture yourself in a situation where you build on an idea with a computer program. Okay, would you co-create with it again? Now picture yourself in a situation where you build on an idea with a human. Okay, would you want to co-create with them again in the future? So obviously, well, it'll become clear in an experiment. So you were in one of these two conditions when I ran this experiment, or at least some participants were. And I'll tell you some reasons why or why not you may want to co-create with one or the other again. So this is super early research. This is just like the last thing I'm doing. And there isn't much evidence for this. I ran one experiment. So this isn't anything explosive and amazing, but I still find it interesting. So of course, maybe all of us have heard of ChatGPT, right? It gained, I don't know, millions and millions of users faster than any tech app in history in a quick amount of time, couple weeks, few weeks, maybe a month. So I was very interested in these new apps, like these new artificially intelligent generated or models that underscore these apps. And so I did a little research in the literature, and of course AI is becoming more important for management of innovation and key to enhancing performance. Of course, we can see that it's gonna be more and more important for companies' performance in the future. We can see all sorts of applications at this point. And they now can generate, AI programs now can generate ideas independently based on a text-based prompt from humans. And not only can they generate text, but they can also generate images. So maybe you've seen some examples out there in the wild, in the internet, where you can give some prompts, some text-based prompts to some AI models that also generate pictures. One good example is DALL-E 2. If you have not followed their Instagram, highly recommended. DALL-E 2. That's a text prompt turns into an image. So, but unfortunately, humans still have this aversion to AI, right? They think it's static, that it can't learn, it's very rigid. And so there's some research that's in the past that's shown this aversion to AI, but humans also, more specifically, more recently, they found that they prefer product recommendations from AI in utilitarian settings. So imagine if you're receiving a product recommendation from an AI, if it's something more utilitarian, more logical, mathematical, something that provides you a very specific value, you may take their recommendation. But on the other hand, you may not find their recommendations on hedonic products that valuable. So products that have to do with something more humanistic, right? Smells, tastes, colors, feelings. Those kind of products are not really associated with something that an AI understands, or an AI more specifically has competence around. So we find this issue with taking recommendations from AI around hedonic products because of this idea of perceived competence. And so there's this general idea of algorithm aversion. And I wanted to explore this in many experiments. And I just did a very simple one in the beginning, just to explore why or why not humans may work with an AI or not. And there's some research also that shows that humans prefer the recommendations of other humans, probably because, I mean, they do view AI to be more psychologically distant, right? And this is likely due to a perceived lack of similarity. So in our experiment that we ran, that I will present, it's humans would rather co-create in the future with other humans because of this perceived similarity that we have. So hypotheses, again, humans that improve, or people that improve on an idea from a human versus computer program are more likely to co-create with them in the future. And this perceived similarity mediates the link between a human, a person that improves on another person's idea versus an AI, versus improving on an AI, and the willingness for that person who did the improvement on their willingness to co-create again in the future. So that was the dependent variable. So I have, we tested our main hypotheses were H1, H2, hypothesis 1, hypothesis 2 were first that improving an idea from a human versus a computer program, it's more likely to lead to a willingness to co-create in the future. And this is mediated by perceived similarity, okay? So we did this study. We ran this study in a French business school with 117 participants, 54.7% male and 45.3% female. And we gave them a body assist suit idea. So in one manipulation, we said, there's a Grenoble research laboratory. They created a new computer program. They're AI powered, and they suggest new product ideas. Please help generate more ideas for the product. And then in the other manipulation, we had Dominique, who lived in Grenoble, a human, pretty creative person, comes up with new ideas. They created the product below. And then the same for both conditions, they showed this product, body assist suit. If anyone's heard of exoskeletons, so they're like these suits you can wear, and they help you with batteries and hydraulics to make you, it helps you with different things. And so that was the description of the idea. It helps you carry things around. It helps your legs and your arms, and helps old people, etc. Can I do a time check? Is it?
Yes, we are at 1:25, so about 10 more minutes or so.
For everything. Okay. Okay, cool. Thank you very much. Okay. So we have this perceived similarity, right? How much does this, how much do people perceive the person that offered them the idea? How similar are they to another? And our willingness to co-create comes to the co-creation literature. And the items were something like, I would co-create again. I would like to have the opportunity to co-create again. Imagine you could co-create. How much would you co-create, et cetera, et cetera. So we found actually that it was confirmed, like humans that people that do co-create with the human on this body assist suit idea are more likely to co-create with the human in the future more than the AI, the computer program. And the reason is perceived similarity. So when we run the mediation analysis and we ask the question why, we find that it's not just that humans prefer to work with humans in the future, it's that because humans feel like this Dominique is more similar to them versus an AI agent or a computer program, that is the reason why they are more likely to co-create in the future with humans. So anyway, limitations in future research, probably 1 million of them, because it's just an experiment. But there's lots of avenues to go with AI programs, and I'm very excited. We just did one experiment, right? So a lot of the results it's early, it's one experiment. A lot of the results are really basic. We just wanted to find some just baseline effect, and we found some of that. So we didn't replicate it, of course. And so that's not a lot of a contribution. There's articles out there that talk about perceived similarity between AI and human. We don't have a unique driver. We have perceived similarity in the research. The boundary condition, so moderator, we don't have this moderator. So like, is there something that can change this effect? And I thought maybe I can ask the audience, if I had extra time, if you imagine yourself, of course, working with something that's, not that similar to you, is there some reason that would make you feel like you would want to work with them more? Is there something that would make them less or more similar? So with that fact flip, and also hypothesized that blank, 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 I didn't put anything there because we did find an effect of idea elaboration, but that was like sort of like a pre-test. We had this idea that maybe if humans do co-create with an AI, they may come up with more ideas. There's a little of that in the research, and we did find this in our results. So, but we don't know why, right? So we didn't explore that. We didn't have the why there. So here we had the why for willingness to co-create. Okay, humans feel like humans, of course, are more similar than an AI, and that's why they're more likely to co-create. But why is it that like a human would generate more ideas, would elaborate more, more ideas with an AI, right? Why is that? I think there's a couple reasons. I mean, I think maybe this evaluation apprehension. We feel like AI is less likely to judge us because maybe it doesn't really have that judgment capability. I don't know. But anyway, we don't have that hypothesis. So thank you very much for my very quick presentation. And here are my contact information. And if you have any ideas at all, hello, how are you? Anything, you can just feel free to email me and I will answer you as long as it doesn't go to spam.
And we've got a few minutes before we move to our next presenters. So did anybody have any questions or comments for Josh? That was really interesting. Yeah, Sarah.
Josh, that was great and really exciting to have just something to hold on to this early in the game. One thing that it brought up for me is that we work at Foresight where we really study co-creation and who wants to create with whom. And there's been research to suggest that clarifiers like to work with clarifiers and ideators like to work with, that kind of thing. So it would be interesting if you could sort of cultivate the voice of the AI respondent, like give me a clarifying response or give me a response like an ideator, if that would change people's perceived comfort with working in an AI environment. If they could consciously like turn the dial on that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, 100%. I mean, I would see it where you would take the Foresight preference and then you would maybe control for that. Mm-hmm. So you'd have to control for that in the front end. And then on the back end, you can say, okay, we controlled for people's preference, right? So we kept that constant. So now that we've kept that constant as an independent variable, are people in general more interested when an AI gives them like some kind of clarifier response? Like that's absolutely one way forward. So if an AI asks me more questions, and of course that would change in the context as well. I mean, whether it's product recommendation, maybe we're inundated with questions from these AI, so we don't like it. But if a human asks a question, it might be more interesting, right? But if it's in a different setting, it may be more interesting, right? So if it's like a therapeutic session, is obviously another application for AI. Maybe it's better, when an AI asks a question, because we're more likely to express ourselves, with an AI than a human. So in that intimate setting, expressing yourself obviously is the goal. And so you may, in asking questions and really being more of a clarifier in a therapeutic session, that's just an example, but I definitely see implication.
You've got a hand raised from Kai. Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. Josephine, you'll be up next.
Okay. Oh, now?
Or Kai, you had your hand up? Do you want to ask something?
Yes. So thank you, Josh. This is great. So if I understand you right, are you saying that people prefer to work with another person to generate ideas, but they prefer an AI to elaborate on ideas?
No, so people prefer to work with other humans. I mean, thank you. People prefer to work with other humans in the future if they've already built on an idea that human brought with them versus an AI, right? So if an AI brings an idea, they build on it. versus a human brings an idea, they build on it. They're more likely to want to build it in the future and co-create in the future with the human versus the AI because of similarity, perceived similarity, which makes sense, right? That's more like obvious. But then the idea, that extra effect that we found that we didn't really hypothesize officially was when a human does co-create with the computer program, they have significantly more numbers of ideas. So they elaborate more on numbers of ideas. I think the count was like both letters and words. So this was a very rough outcome, like a rough measure, but we'd like in future studies to look at some more specific measures of creativity, like novelty, usefulness, etc., and like how many ideas they came up with, right? Because you could have like 20 words, but really it's like just a run-on sentence.
Okay, so you're saying that if a person built on an AI generated idea, they will elaborate more, right?
Exactly.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for the clarification. For the future, I'm guessing that if we can actually have a chat, right? Actually talk, meaning back and forth, that may give a better.
Yeah, that would be nice.
For now, it's just one idea, right?
It's just building on the exoskeleton vest or the body assist suit idea. So the exoskeleton idea, of course, yeah.
Okay,
So I
great.
want to move
Thank
on
you.
to our next question from Josephine and then Mauricia, and then we'll probably be moving on to our next presenters after that point, but there will be some time based on the availability of everybody at the end to ask even more questions too. So Josephine, what was your question that you wanted to ask?
Amanda, I apologize. I'm newbie to Zoom. I didn't know you had a hand to raise, so go ahead with
Only just
Mauricia.
discovered that it pops those people right up at the top. I didn't know that either, but go ahead with your question.
No. Go ahead to Mauricia. I don't want to take up
that's
time
okay.
when.
No, go ahead.
Well, I was just wondering about that. I'm sure people have seen the new thing with Bing. I mean, this is a new idea. You ask it a question and it answers, and apparently it's gone haywire to the point where it gave one person like so many comments that were so off the realm of what the first question was. So I was just curious if you had seen that and this part talking about working with AI versus a person. And so I was just wondering if anybody had seen anything about that. Josh, have you?
I definitely have. Yes, of course. Absolutely. I saw, Bing is powered by ChatGPT. It's powered by the same company that created ChatGPT called OpenAI. And they've discussed fairly extensively on their blog about the pitfalls and the positives of AI and their chatbots that are becoming more powerful by the, half year, whatever. So I highly recommend, if you're interested, to check out OpenAI and their blog.
Oh, thank you.
Okay. And Mauricia, just a minute or so for your question, and then we can talk more at the end as well.
Certainly. It's curious that their AI chat's tagline is infinite creativity, by the way. Josh, I mean, this space is moving so quickly. Have you noticed from when you began your research to where you are now, there's even changing opinions, perspectives in terms of our openness and embracing of using AI creatively in your research?
No, so in my research, no. I mean, I agree with you. It's very exciting, or at least it's moving fast.
Yeah.
It's exciting. Also, could be scary. I see that it's moving quickly, and I see that you would have to do like a longitudinal study, obviously, to take a look at like people's perceptions of AI. I haven't done that from a science perspective, but anecdotally, yeah, of course, like obviously from a generational perspective, you're probably going to see a lot of differences.
Right.
You see that with other tools and social media apps, for example. But I mean, experiments, one of the downsides, it's a snapshot in time, right? So we're looking at the moment, we're looking across people, across participants, how the differences that they have affect based on what they see. Yeah. So of course, if I did this experiment in the future, like I can imagine, especially based on the pace of change, that the perspectives are going to change quite quickly, and you could really almost compare and contrast much easier the differences between the experiment, running this same experiment 10 years from now versus running a horse and buggy experiment between 10 years, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, and as a sample of one, I would never use AI to do divergent thinking. And in the last 3 weeks, I have now started to use it just to open
Wow.
up some different thinking. So just as
So-
a sample of one.
This is really great conversation, and I really hope that we can continue it at the end of our session.